Oh, we on? Hey, everyone. How's it? Welcome to a Pinch of Basil show. It's Wednesday, March 30th. That's right. We are indeed live. It's the best damn radio video podcast show ever. I want to bring you fantastic guests that, the movers and shakers in the world news, entertainment, authors, politicians, and sports stars. And even tonight, another comedian that will be with us. That's right. That's right. We're going to talk to Maxwell. He'll be coming on. I'm Basil, your handsome, humble, and gracious host, along with our own sleeping beauty who happens to be awake, Janice Hermson, and our ebony Mounds bar filled with coconut, my brother of love and chief engineer, J.R. Quitman.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to do a little bit of editing. There needs to be some editing done on that script. I think that we need to fix that.
No, not so much. We are broadcasting our show and streaming live on Twitch at A Pinch of Basil, on Facebook at Basil Fans, Twitter.com at Basil Fans, and YouTube at Basil the Comedian. And that's where we want you to go. We want you to go to YouTube. And why? Because the only thing you got to do is subscribe and see the whole show in toto. That's right. And of course, don't forget our anchor, that 8 different outlets, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts, just to name a couple. Let's not forget Greek Beat Radio. Greek Beat Radio. That takes us all over the world, from Australia, South Africa, Europe, North America, and Central and South America as well. We love them. Thank you so much for being on live radio with us as well. And of course, as always, I love to hear from you, the greatest listeners in the world. You can comment on what we're talking about. We'll even answer our, whatever questions y'all have, for we love them and we love hearing from you. We really do. Let me tell you, I think we got the best, listeners in the world anyway. I really believe that. I love them. Hey, you can even call in 844-523-2633, 844-523-2633. Like I said, I really want to hear from you, all of you. My special interests will go to social outlets I just mentioned, or you can even email me personally at info@apinchofbasil, info@apinchofbasil, BASILE.com. That's right. Follow me. Join us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Basil Fans, BASILEFANS. Hey, concert dates coming up. We got them. That's right. 2 days from now, I'm going to be at Thalian Hall. Did you get your tickets? Thalian Hall. That's right. It is one of the most wonderful historic theaters in all of, really, the East Coast. Just a gorgeous theater. Can't wait. And I'm going to have our guest who will be opening for me. And, really, Wills is a great guy. Wills Maxwell Jr. from WWAY. Very, 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 very funny cat. We had him on a little Pinch of Basil this afternoon. Find out more. Just go to my website at BasileLive.com. That's BasileLive.com. Fundraisers, corporate events, private parties, theaters, and comedy clubs. Email me at Basil@BasileLive. That's right. In a few minutes, our guest, comedian Wills Maxwell. And what a great story he has. Just a cool cat. I had him over at the office, and we talked a little bit about the show, and just a very, very smooth, cool cat. And I like his style, like everything he does. And then, folks, without actually getting smacked in the face by any of my co-hosts for whatever I may say, because they just can't find their way to my stage, I got Janice and JR, and hey, good friend of mine, Stacy Economides from it is Cocktails, brother. That's right, Stace. Cocktails. And I go ahead, show them your little baby. Yeah.
You got your crown. I got me some Woodford
Reserve. We got the crown. Put it in my coffee. Janice has got something in her coffee. She just won't share.
Just coffee.
Oh, please. And then Dina Raptis is watching. Greeks, let me see, at all who love humor, unite. Indeed. I love you, sweetheart. Thank you so much, Dina. And listen, I love all of our people. You guys got questions. We got answers. And hey, by the way, if you don't mind me asking, what did you guys think about Will Smith? And because I got to be honest with you, I'm a little bit torn. I'm torn.
It was crazy.
It was crazy as a comedian. Well, I'll tell you my opinions afterwards. My cousin George Pastis is on there. He's drinking tequila. Way to go. That's it. I mean, what did you guys think of that, Janice?
Well, I didn't see it, so I can't really say that I, had a firsthand knowledge of it. But what I heard about it and the clips that I saw afterwards, I'm not sure it's real. I'm just not sure. I don't know.
I see a lot of people saying that.
Yeah, I just don't know. And, having not been there, really watched the whole thing, it's hard to know from the clips because you just don't know.
Interesting.
I hear you. I don't know. I'm not speaking, so I just don't think that Will and Chris would risk coming out with something fake after the whole like celebrity Jesse Smollett thing or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't think they're gonna risk doing something like it coming out in the public that they've planned this for public, for publicity or anything. I don't think they would do that.
Yeah, I hear you. I can understand the thought. I just,
right.
I don't know.
But I just don't. It blew my mind seeing that. Just, I mean, there's no right for anybody to go anywhere and just put their hands on anybody for no reason. That's just totally wrong in the first place. You know what I mean? And for Will Smith to do it, that blew my mind even more. It's crazy. It's crazy.
What about you, Basil? What do you think?
It's hilarious. I don't know. I mean, I could find the comedy in it also, though.
I got to be honest with you. I'm extremely protective of my family. Extremely protective of my family. If you notice, I really don't bring my family up, right? I kind of keep them. I camouflage everything in a way, whatever the case may be. So I got to be honest with you. If she suffers, and they kind of have a unique relationship. I guess they have this open relationship that they talk about or brag about or whatever. And, to be honest, man, it's just, I find I would protect my wife in any way. I don't know if it was made up, if that is the stage I would do it at, because there are so many possible ramifications that can hurt your career. Maybe they might isolate you for a couple of years. I think they're talking about that. They could possibly even take your Oscar away. And I think Will Smith is a tremendous actor. But as a comedian also, I got free reign. You don't like what I got to say, either do this or don't be there. But if you come on my stage and and I've had people listen, I've jumped into a fight where I saw a man choking his girlfriend in front of me where no one else could see it except for me, literally choking her. And I jumped off stage in that situation. That was one of the craziest things I've ever done. And we threw him out, got her, actually got an ambulance and got, actual police there. Yeah. So I'm
Not
a little
bit
torn.
Real police.
Real police. Well, but the thing is, you can eat after you take the actual gold foil off. You can eat their badges, which was pretty cool. But no, I was kind of torn, but at the same time, as a comedian, I got free reign. I'm protected by free speech. And if you don't want to be there, don't be there. Janice thinks it was, garbage. Who knows?
Well,
Who knows?
I don't know. I didn't see it as it happened. Clips, they sometimes pick and choose and, so I try and leave it open.
Oh my God.
Hey. I'm looking at it just like I split it up in both sides, looking at it from both sides, right? So yes, I would do anything to protect my family. I would do anything that, if anybody disrespects my family, blah, blah, blah.
Dig it, right.
I would have to see Chris Rock about what he said, but not on the stage like that. I'm going to see him behind stage. That man, he's a millionaire, damn near a billionaire. He can get to Chris Rock. He can get
two ways
to have a conversation about that. When he accepted his award, he could have mentioned something about it like that then, and then talk to him about it afterwards.
I agree with that.
Somebody to go on stage and slap him in the face like that, I would have beat the brakes off of that man if he would have came on stage and slapped me in my face. Right? I'm sorry.
And I think it showed a lot of
Hers on Chris Rock's part for sure.
Yeah, I listen. I know Chris Rock's mother. She's a fan of mine, believe it or not. She lives in South Carolina and comes to my shows when I play the Comedy Cabana.
How do people like you, man?
Man, people, I'm really and to be in, Chris Rock's mother. Leave me alone, man. Leave me alone.
Well,
how the hell do we get rid of your picture of this? Listen, man, you are my Mounds chocolate coconut covered love.
Back up.
And what am I, some sort of sleeping person?
You're sleeping beauty. You're sleeping beauty who happens to be awake, and evidently I'm dopey, and JR, who's always sleeping, is sleepy. Every time I call him at 12, yeah. What the hell are you doing still asleep at 12,
I'm
man?
up till 3, 4 in the morning, man, because my horrible work schedule. But
my God. Oh my God.
Cheers.
Cheers, bro. Cheers. And to all the people that are watching right now, we got Midas, I should say, George Passes, Lee King, my brother from another mother, Peter K, Dina Raptor, Steve Tama. Okay, I listen, Janice. I love all these people that are listening right now, and they have some interesting points of view, coming from actually what they think as well. But I think I have the right to say what I want. The only thing I cannot say on a stage is that the theater is burning and there is a fire. I think that was the one thing that we always heard we could not say in a public gathering. Remember that thing? You can never scream out fire in a theater, right? Where do I work? I work in a theater, and that's the only place I would never do this. But, I got to be honest and for all of you who are listening and watching us right now, I just think if you don't like my show, and God knows there's been people who probably didn't like my show, but they stayed because it was somewhat entertaining, or at least parts of it. And then I'll hear it. Even if I got a standing ovation at the end of the night, I'm going to have some, you know what I didn't like about your show? And you know what? I have the patience to listen. I'll sit there and I'll listen, because you know what? They may have a grain of truth in what they say. I may not agree with it, but possibly it's not, Alejandro Ruiz is watching from Pennsylvania. How you doing, Alejandro? And I had the privilege of seeing your set on a cruise recently. You are funny as okay.
It was on the cruise with you.
It was man. What can I say, man? The peeps love me, man. The peeps love me. Especially Alejandro, because I could say Alejandro and roll the R. Oh, man, I'm just telling you.
I mean,
yeah.
Alejandro. You're not even gonna disrespect it, man.
You have an issue saying ruffles have ridges. Okay. You have
Can't do it.
Wow.
I don't need my tongue to roll my R's.
Wow, really? We're gonna go in that direction? Really? Is that what we're gonna do? Give you a couple of cocktails.
I'm putting you in the corner now. You're going to the corner, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Alejandro. I appreciate you guys are always awesome when I do my shows. Janice, what you got up for us today?
You know what I have for you? You're gonna like this, I think.
Okay.
We always do the National Day things, and today just happens to be Little Red Wagon Day. Did you ever have a Little Red Wagon? I knew you'd buy into this one.
Are you kidding me? Who didn't have a radio flyer, for God's sake?
I had a Little Red Wagon.
I had a radio flyer. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, JR? Are we going to hear it from you?
We did.
Oh,
we definitely did.
There you go. See?
For sure.
That's a good common little toy.
And especially if you're having sex on it, I think it's a magnificent thing.
Basile, what am I going to do with you?
So what age were you when you had your red wagon?
Well, I don't want to brag. I think I was 7. And,
What you were doing?
Come on, I'm going to take you for a ride. I got Barbie, G.I. Joe, and you, little Susie. Come on with me. Okay. No, actually, I loved my red wagon because, I actually used that until my late teens, when my mother would want me to go ahead and do yard work. And my cousin George will actually go ahead and you'll attest to this. My mother kept me busy because we lived on basically about an acre, and we had this huge rock garden. I had to weed, I had to rake, I had to do the hedges, and that thing was carried my tools, did this, did that, and then whatever I had left over, threw it in the wagon, and I just took it with me. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well,
I
do you
love it.
know how long the little red wagon has been around?
Oh God, it's got to be from the late 1800s.
No, actually, it's 1917.
No,
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah,
Radio
yeah.
Flyer is Radio Flyer, right?
Before the company was even named Radio Flyer. It
Okay.
was just a
Really?
little red wagon back then. And
Nice.
somebody named Antonio Pasin, Pasin, the founder of the Radio Flyer, was
Passin.
a carpenter. Yeah, you say it better than I. Who made phonograph cabinets and used a small wagon to store his tools.
See?
So there you
Nice.
go. There you
Yep.
go.
I used to tote my G.I. Joes and I was an action figures kind of guy, so I was toting them
Really?
all.
You were? You were?
You're
Folks,
more
look
than
behind
were.
JR. He's got all of his dolls set up. Yeah, I know. They're
It's
action
just-
figures.
all
They're
right,
not
fine.
dolls, man.
I'm gonna see
They're
you. I'm gonna have to
dolls.
see you on
They're
Friday.
dolls.
I'm
Come
sorry,
on.
what? All right, it's WrestleMania weekend too. It's WrestleMania weekend, and you disrespecting my action figures like that? Oh my gosh, it's over.
No, I think a grown man playing with dolls. I think it's a beautiful thing, man. I really do. Even the dog agrees.
Alejandro had he didn't have the red wagon, but he had the big wheels.
Big
So
wheels.
there you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Man.
see, I was too old for big wheels when it came out.
I got a great. Okay, Big Wheels. We'll have to bring Big Wheels up again with Wheels because I know in his age he probably growing up he was 90s. You know what I mean? He's a 90s baby, so I'm sure he had the Big Wheels growing up. I had the Knight Rider Big Wheel, yo, kit,
Ooh.
and he had the gear on the side. Yeah. It was the shit. I loved it. It was the best.
Such
Yeah.
an idiot. There was a big wheel big enough for your ass and my ass. You really? Are you serious? You could fit in it? What
Hey,
number
man.
were you on the baseball team? You were number 13. That was the biggest fat ass uniform, and I know because I wore it too. Okay, so I don't want to hear that you fit into a big wheel. I don't. Janice is the only one of us who could fit into a big wheel.
If my brother was on here right now listening, he would attest to it 100%. No doubt. No doubt about it.
Okay, so what were some of the other Janice? What are some of the other things that they're bringing out besides the Radio Red Flyer?
As far as the National Day?
Yeah.
Oh, I have one more for you. It's National Pencil Day.
Oh, hell
How many
yeah.
people still use a pencil? Raise your hand.
I do. I do.
Do you know that one pencil can write up to 45,000 words? Now, that depends, right? Because you've got the long pencils and then you've got the shorter pencils. So that would be, I guess, half, right?
I suppose. I mean, but I know that my pencil lied on its own, especially when I use it scoring my golf score. It had the ability to lie. Oh no, I'm pretty sure I parred that. Didn't the pencil? Oh yes, it was true. It's so true. He parred that very. Why do I have a Hispanic accent when I do that? No, it's good. I'm telling you. my pencil turned into Senor Wences.
Your inner monologue is Hispanic. Mine's British, so when I hear my thoughts in my mind, mine's British. So.
Did you remember there was always like, what the hell? Okay, we always had the number 2 pencil. I always wondered what the hell happened to number 1 and number 3. Did they just get axed out of the whole thing? Was it just
you thought too much?
What did they do to deserve not to have one?
Exactly.
Is there number 1 and 3 pencil? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
anything else than the number 2?
Well, the only time on a serious note, the only time I actually used that's funny. The only time I actually used lead was there was a drafting class, right? So you had to use a drafting pencil, and it was always that long piece of lead that you would have to insert, if you remember, into your mechanical pencil. But even looking at it, the damn thing would break, let alone picking it up. It was so fragile, right? And you're like, oh, for God's sakes. And I used to break maybe 2 of them before I can get one actually in the damn thing.
Well, you probably should have used a number 1 pencil because it has a soft core that produces dark markings. How about that?
Wow.
Wow. See?
Well,
Just
there
ask.
you go.
Just
There it is.
ask, you know?
There you
The internet
go.
tells you everything.
For sure.
See, Alejandro said he can't spell too good. So with either pencil, it doesn't really
It's all right, Alejandro. We
It's
don't care.
okay.
Nesta, what's up, Nesta? What's up? Big up.
Hey,
to you.
what's up, Nesta?
I remember he commented on an episode a while back. He was the guy that I used to beat the hell out of in NBA 2K all the time.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. He said, "What up, man?" He still remembers those time you ran over him with the big wheel that you had. Oh man, Nessa, I thought you were a speed bump, man. I'm sorry, man.
He's a big dude like me, so it'll be a big speed bump for sure. But hey, our guest of honor is here.
Who's here?
Our guest of honor.
Who's here?
Man, listen.
Have another drink, Basil.
Who the
Have another
hell
drink.
invited
Go
him
ahead.
always cutting something
what
on?
the
There
heck?
he is. Yeah.
Our guest of honor couldn't make it. It's me instead. It's just I mean
I want to see your red wagon.
I'm
the guest. I don't honor.
Wills, did you have a red wagon, man?
No red wagon, no big wheel. I was even as a kid, I was bumming rides. Even as a kid, I was just all other kids had money and they were on their big wheels, and I'd be, just.
So you were the poor bastard on the actual bike, on the bike handlebars.
Yeah,
one of the most dangerous. How the hell did we do that and live?
We were told it was safe. It was like, "Can I ride with you?" It was like, "Yeah, just hop on this thing I used to steer."
I got a friend, very, very funny cat named Danny Butler, and we got to get him on the show one time. And Danny actually does a bit about riding on the handlebars. And actually, your friend who was driving the bike was basically the one who was like Evel Knievel. He goes, "Hey man, let's jump this." And go. You're flying in the air on the handlebars. How we didn't get killed, I have no idea. But Danny was hysterical with this bit. It was funny, man. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. It's good to see you all.
Hey, Wills, before you start, man, let me go ahead and do Will's bio real quick. And I wrote this because I asked him, go ahead, man, send me something. And that was just like a fart in the wind. That email didn't get there. It just
I sent you an email.
You didn't send crap.
I sent you an email, and to be passive aggressive about it, I replied to the email where I already sent you my bio 2 weeks ago.
I don't even want to hear you. Okay, first of all.
Well, thanks for having me, everybody.
Yeah, nice being with you. Okay, take care. Wills Maxwell Jr. started, now check this out, doing his stand-up comedy when he was in 4th grade. Now, I don't know what kind of audience you had and what kind of caca jokes you were doing, but I think that's beautiful. His teacher didn't appreciate him interrupting the class, and his parents didn't appreciate him getting in trouble. Due to the lack of appreciation, Wills retired from the business at such a tender young age and started doing stand-up comedy again after he left high school. He won the Port City. This is actually pretty cool. He won the Port City Top Comic in 2019 and was a regional finalist in the stand-up NBC 2018. I guess was that an NBC type of program that it was they were doing?
Yeah, it was their nationwide search for like their next person they were going to put on like late night programs and all that. And I made it out of the first round and was one of the finalists for the Southeast region, and then didn't get out of that round. But that was still that was a blast.
Hey, that was actually very, very good. You used to see him every Thursday morning on WWAY News, his comedy news segment, What Did We Miss? Wills has performed at the Cola Comedy Convention, North Carolina Comedy Festival, the Oak City Comedy Festival, and the Cape Fear Comedy Festival. Wills hosted Wilmington's late night talk show, Late Fear with Wills Maxwell, for 3 years. He is also open for several comedians, including Tim Meadows, Jim Gaffigan, and now yours truly. That's right, me, Basile.
Yes,
he will open for me on Friday night on the 1st of April. We are excited to have him. Welcome to the show, Wills.
Thank you very much. Thanks for writing my bio for me, and thank you for having me. No, I'm so excited, man. I'm excited to like come. First of all, I haven't seen you live since before the pandemic, so I'm excited to actually catch a Basile show again.
Cool.
And I'm excited.
And that's the attitude you should have, to be quite honest. Ask Alejandro. He will tell you how wonderful I am.
How was that cruise, man? How was that? Was that like one of the final cruises before all of them started?
No,
having,
actually, I wound up. I did because I got signed to do exclusively for Royal Caribbean, and also their actual, I guess, their sister cruise line that they have that they own, Celebrity. So I don't know, Alejandro, was it on Celebrity or was it on Royal Caribbean that you saw me? And it was pretty cool, man, because there's such a mix of crowd. You get them from the womb to the tomb, right? So you have the adult, you have the kid friendly show. And so I'll take it right to the edge, and then all of a sudden I'll do the adult show, which is I work the crowd and I really go after them and I have some fun. And I don't know which one he was at, but it was really nice, the compliment that I got from him. So, Wills, awesome. I'm excited to have you. And there's a bunch of questions that I have. And before I get there, I don't know if Janice has any questions or JR has questions. I know you're very close, good friends with JR. You guys have worked together for years as well, which is cool. As a matter of fact, when JR mentioned you, I said, I know him. And he's like, man, and I've done your show. Thank you
for doing that. Yeah.
No, and thank you for being on our show. And Janice, I don't know if you want to ask Wills any questions or JR.
I do. Since I don't really know you like they do, I think that our audience, if they don't know you, might want to know just a little bit about your background more than just that wonderful bio that Basile wrote for you.
Really? Really? Et tu, Brute? Why don't you stick the knife and then come across this way?
Absolutely. Can't wait till you get here, Basile.
I can tell.
But I think I'd like to kind of know, how did you get your first gig? What was that process, and what made you want to pursue it for a career?
I've always wanted to be a comedian. Like, that's one of like the things I've known like since I was a kid, was like I want to do, like I'd watch like Showtime at the Apollo and like Letterman and all that, and I was just like, I know I want to do stand up. And that was the thing, like as a kid, it felt like that's like the wrong goal to have. Especially like, you go into school to learn all these other things, and like have all these different career options. And I'm like 9 years old. I'm like, no, I want to make people laugh. It's like, so that was like a thing I like kind of repressed in myself. And pretty much, but was constantly writing jokes in class, right out of school, just like constantly like have my notebook. And then when I was 18, I did my very first show, which was a talent show at my high school on the last day of school. So it's like my absolute last day of high school. It's a senior class of 500 kids, and I had 10 minutes on like graduation in high school and growing up and all that. And I never done it before, but I signed up for the talent show and did it. And it was this absolute it was like one of the clear moments in my life. Like I got that first laugh as soon as I got on stage. I opened with, "Hi, I'm Wills. I went to school here for 4 years. So if you don't know who I am, chances are you're popular." And I got a big laugh right from there. And the second I heard that laugh, it was like it was like my brain changed in that second of like, okay, this is what we do now. This is what we do now.
Yeah.
We're a comedian.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
So yeah, I came out to Wilmington. I've been loving it. Went to UNCW, did stand up there, and I've just been lucky to like fall in with like the local scene here. And met JR I worked at WWAY for 6 years, where JR trained me and taught me, and I worked behind the scenes with him. Met Basile doing shows at Dead Crow when he would come to the station. So like, yeah, it's been it's just fell into the right scene for the things I want to do.
That's
very
great.
cool. That's very, very cool.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I tell you what, that first laughter when you get it, you're just, because I remember the first time I went up on stage, my cousin, we went to go and see Dave Coulier. Okay.
Nice.
And this is at the old Cleveland Comedy Club, where actually the Cleveland Indians now play. It was Jacobs Field, now it's Progressive Field. And the comedy club was right there. And I was getting ready to go to law school, and I was graduating my senior year in college. And my mother was in the hospital. My mother wasn't doing very well health-wise. And I was kind of depressed. And I always loved to laugh, and I always loved to have cut up and everything. My cousin says, come on, let's go to a comedy club. And I have JR and I both played ball. And I have a very, very thick ego when it comes to something that I'm good at or whatever, or if it's something I know that I think I could do better, I will go ahead and say, oh man, I could do this better. And Dave Coulier just, how can I put it in a way that would be nice? Sucked. And
did he have the woodchuck, the woodchuck?
I don't remember the woodchuck. No, I don't remember that at all.
Did he have that?
I don't think so. And I was sitting there. I'm like, this guy really sucks. So I told my cousin who took me, Mike, who was about 4 years my senior. And I go, Mike, this sucks. He goes, what, you think you could do better? I said, hell yeah, I could do better. And Mike was like, I bet you $20 you won't go up on stage on an amateur night and do it. And I said, you're on. Didn't have any material, didn't have anything. I'm getting ready, to actually graduate from college, right? And I'm like, I was okay, I'll show you, And I put together 5 minutes of the most brilliant dick jokes I can come up with, and I want to stress brilliant, and I wound up doing 5 minutes. And when I was smart, I worked at a law firm at that time too. I was a court runner at a law firm. I told everyone that I was going, and everyone knew me as a cut up. And everyone at the firm, like the legal secretaries, the paralegals, support staff, all that, just came in there. I must have had 100 people, and I was making them, and I just tore the place a new one. And of course, I won the amateur night. So my cousin, they didn't even announce me. My cousin just looked at me and gave me the $20 because I didn't think you had balls enough to do this. And you know what?
That's awesome.
Still have the first tape that when I ever went up on stage, I still have it.
That's awesome. I would love to see that. That's really dope.
No, it wasn't video. It was an audio tape. That's how old this is.
No, he's 80 years old. It's definitely
really? And I love you too. That's all right, you old bastard. I'll fix your ass when I see you.
I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way right now. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I still work for said TV station that I used to work with Wills for, right? And I direct the news. So we go to roll a package of your interview on Good Morning Carolina that you and Wills had. And great interview. Good job, by the way, guys.
I do not feel the spirit of that. Good job, by the way. I do not.
I mean, you're thanking everybody, you know what I mean, all this good stuff. And you mentioned your podcasts and everything that you're on. Janice, we didn't get mentioned for Basile, about a pinch of Basile.
Oh, is that right?
And I'm on a podcast with Will.
This is how we roll.
Didn't even get mentioned there either.
And I invited him on my show. Maybe I ought to rethink that.
So, everybody under the sun got thanked. Except me.
The good news is when Basile and I win an Oscar, you're the first person we're thanking. So there's that. You have.
Yeah, with our luck, he'll come up with both hands up on stage and smack the crap out of both of us.
It's as we're wrapping up the speech, and he walks, and he's like, "Put my name in your mouth," and we're like, "All right."
Put my name in your mouth. And the thing is gonna be different. I'm gonna do it with open fingers. I'm slapping you.
You don't want no wind resistance.
Yeah, that's open hand, open palm, farm hand. Damn it.
Here's the thing.
What's up with that?
I know this is coming from a real place because like an hour ago, Hannah Patrick texted me and was like, "Hey, JR is mad that you didn't shout him out. Next time you should shout JR out." And I'm like, "You're right, Hannah. You're right."
As it's rolling, I'm in her ear like, how the hell they didn't mention my name?
I put this dude on. I put him on. No, we're gonna pay homage because I don't need you dangling me over a balcony like Big Red. So I'm gonna let.
Was it you, JR? Was it you? Because I used to feed you when I would do the interviews for the Greek Festival. And by the way, the Greek Festival is coming on May 13th, 14th, and 15th, 2022. That's right, folks. May 13th, 14th, and 15th. Thank you. I told my partner in crime, Lee King, I said, Lee, I'm going to drop that. I just want you to know I'm going to drop it, right? So anyway, I would bring pastry. And I remembered dealing with JR. And so I wind up bringing this huge ass platter of pastries that also had the smaller plate. And I went, "Here, man," because I know they won't save you or ass any. So I gave him some.
We never got stuff, did we, Wills? As the director, we have time to get up and get it. We got a show to put on.
You just stay in your little hobbit hole in the control room, and you like kind of step out the control room and like rub your eyes and like, "Did food happen? Why is everyone happy? What happened?"
It's ridiculous.
What is
that? Piece of baklava, you selfish sons of bitches. So then I think it was JR who told me the story. I did an interview. So why don't you come on the couch? Because I was tell him the story, man. Because I was laughing.
I don't remember which one you talking about.
This was like, I think this might be the first time I met Basile in person. Okay. But like I was on JR was directing. I was on the floor directing. I was floor directing, and we had like the set, which was just 2 stools, and Basile sits down on the stool, and JR goes, "You know what? Let's go to the couch." So I'm like, "Okay, Basile, you're over to the couch." And he's like, "But I already got the stool." And I was like, "I mean, you can take it with you if you want." And so he picks up the stool, no explanation, just picks up the stool, sits down on the couch. We come back from commercial break, and he's just holding a stool in his lap. And we get back from commercial, and Randy Aldridge is like, "So Basile, I see you got a stool there." And Basile's like, "Yeah, man, they told me to take a seat."
Usually I leave the stool sample, but it is what it is.
My first time meeting him, I'm like, "This dude's a clown. This is my dude. This is like
ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. In a good way. Ridiculous in a good way.
In a good way. I was like, "This is my
way."
Hey, but next time y'all come on my newscast, y'all better shout me out.
No, listen, man. You know I love you, right? You know I love you. I'm just telling you.
I don't know that.
We're gonna wear Bannerscape Media T-shirts. We're gonna say your name at the start of each sentence.
There we go.
Speaking of T-shirts, I would like to show you my new T-shirt. It's the Basilicious World Tour. Look at that tongue.
Nice.
And then read the rest of it.
There it is. If funny was a flavor, I'd be fucking delicious. Nice.
And,
better than that basil ass that you was talking about earlier.
This is the new concert shirt, and we're opening it up. It's going to be for the first show. Is going to be with Wills. That we're doing. So that's in a portion of proceeds will help benefit Muscular Dystrophy Association, like all the shirts do, even back in the day when I first started doing T-shirts and everything. So I want to thank Muscular Dystrophy Association for all the great works that they wind up doing. And then when I do this Greek stuff, I wind up giving a piece of the action to the Cooley's Anemia Foundation, which is also known as Thessalinas disease. So it's a form of sickle cell that people of who are from, the Mediterranean suffer from. So, it's a little deal that we got to deal with and whatnot. But Wills, I do have a couple of questions I want to ask on a serious note.
Yeah.
I know what it takes when you write material. It's very difficult. People don't understand. They just think we go up on stage and that's it.
Right.
And my question is to you, what is your process when you write? Do you write when you I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to write material, or do you, like me, always have pen, paper, and or dictate into your phone the bit of what you want to do, because it'll hit you at any time. You may see something, you may feel something, you may whatever. What is your process when you write material?
The answer is I'm a crazy person who talks to myself all the time. So like when I'm not around people, I'm walking around the house talking to myself. I'm driving in the car talking to myself. I'm talking to myself out loud. A lot of times, not even noticing. I'm just be walking downtown talking to myself, and someone hands me change. I'm like, oh, you heard me. My bad. That was for me. But I talk out loud constantly, and most of the times, a lot of times when I'm just like going through like whatever topic I'm dwelling on, because that's like one of my things is like I just get on something, I dwell on it, and it leads me to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. I go, oh, there's something there, and then I'll pull my phone out and I'll write down notes real quick. And then next time I do any type of open mic, or even if it's just a gig, like if I'm on stage and I know, well, I wrote these 2 notes down. I wrote these 3 one-liners down. I'm going to go on stage. I'm going to say these lines, and I'm going to find the rest of it on stage. So a lot of times, a lot of my like more fleshed out rants are me going on stage for the first time with like, I know 2 punchlines that are in this rant. I'm going to go on stage and try to like connect with the audience and just like find it on stage. And a lot of times, like just off of whatever reaction I get from the audience, I can find something else that way. So then the more just the repetition of it, the rants and the bits keep changing because I keep finding like another punchline. I'm like, oh, that was good. I'll add this to it until I've got like my chunk that I'll then add to like my paid shows. So, but yeah, I just talk to myself too much.
No, and I think, people, I don't know, Janice, if this is true or not. Someone told me, it was actually my secretary, Stella Valianos, who used to work with me, and she goes, people who talk to themselves is a sign of brilliance, that they're very, 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 so yeah, that's what I said. Okay, that's cool. I can live with that.
Right?
Yeah, I can live with that.
I'll take being diagnosed with brilliance.
Yeah, brilliance. Yeah. What's wrong with him, doctor? He's brilliant. Oh my God. Don't pull the plug. Okay. Whatever happens. No, because, for me, when I write, like, for example, I just wrote a new bit and we were laughing because we did this thing called, well, like you were on today, called a mini pinch of basil, just little tiny pinch, that we do. And we were talking about, when we were playing Little League, and if you got the number 13 on as a Little League uniform, the reason why you're always 13 because you were the biggest fat ass on the team. And I'm like, why do I got to be 13? Why can't I be like 11? I want to be 11 because you can't fit into an 11. You got to be 13. And that uniform didn't even fit either. Let's be honest. The shirt was always open. And I had, oh my God. And we were laughing about that.
That's awesome.
And I just would write down notes as I was remembering all this stuff. And then you put it together and you try to work something, and like you throw it out on stage. You have a couple of bits, and there's been times when I tried something that just didn't work. In my mind, if I see people laughing when I close my eyes, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but I see people laughing, it's funny.
I like that.
I just did not find the way yet to deliver that setup, because it's a premise, it's a setup, it's a punchline. Right. That's the way it works. Then I always do, Johnny Carson always talked about the rule of 3. You only do 3 jokes on that one premise, and that's it. And you move on.
Yeah.
Now, so for me, you can tag onto it when one thing leads to another, to another, to another. But that's the way I write when I write. Thank God I have a publisher in Janice who will read something. And when I write like I do, like I'm on stage, where things are really bold and capitalized because I'm screaming it out, or there'll be a pause and I have to do a ... or whatever the case is. So people who know me, when they read this, are reading it as if I'm delivering it.
I dig that.
So that's one of the things when I write. What about you, Janice? When you write, I mean, you write basically. I mean, you write both nonfiction and fiction.
Mostly I write nonfiction.
Okay.
But what I find for myself is that when I write, I see this in a lot of writers, I blurt it all out. I just get it on paper. I don't want to think about it, because if I think about it too much, I'm going to I'm going to have a blank piece of paper. There'd be nothing there. So I just kind of blurt it all out. And usually the beginning is really the end. And so the information I've started with ends up being transferred down to another spot, oftentimes just dumped all together. It's just me getting my thoughts together. So that's my
I like that.
process.
That's impressive to me because I'm not good at that rough draft. Just get it all
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I'll like write screenplays or whatever, and I'm like, no, this dialogue has to be perfect right now. This rhythm has to be perfect right now, and it makes me take like that much longer to write because I'm not as good at the.
Well, maybe not that much longer because you're editing as you go. It's just that for me, that thought and that, in a way, it is creativity, has to get out because otherwise I'm going to lose it and I'm going to lose my whole end game, right? So I got to get it out. And
have you ever
like I
had?
said, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you
sorry.
saying?
No, I was just going to say a lot of writers that I edit, because I do a lot of editing, I find that they're the same. And if especially new writers, they don't know that that's what they're doing. They don't understand that that beginning is really not the beginning. You know,
Right.
usually they're 2 or 3 chapters in before they're really getting into the meat of it. And then I'm excited about it, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's good. You know, and if they're honest with themselves, they'll allow a good editor to help them massage it and never lose their voice, because they have to maintain their, the editor has to maintain their voice. That's really important. So
That's
really
interesting.
that's just my
I like
process.
That's
That's
interesting
cool.
because if you take like an author, for example, let's take Tom Clancy, who happens to be one of my favorite authors. His first third of the book, you may want to shoot heroin in your ass because it is just like, oh, this thing is dragging. It just
I would edit him out.
I
tear it up.
Oh my God!
I have never read anything that I could read that's made me feel like I could read a manual called "Shoot Heroin in Your Ass" and it wouldn't make me.
It's actually the name of my biography. To be honest with you, so the one thing is when you read Clancy and the whole first third, and Janice could probably attest to this. I don't know if you read any of Tom Clancy's work. But when you read, even if it's Hunt for Red October, which probably the most famous that he first started with, the first third going before, talking about what was going on with the characters in the United States, what was going on with the characters in Russia, back and forth, and you're like, oh, mother of God, just get to it. Is this going to be? It's going to be like pulling teeth. And then finally, you begin the second third. And this thing, you just can't put the book down because it was the setup. And when you had that setup and all of a sudden it turns out where you continue on reading, and I could not, same thing with Executive Orders, same thing with the Cardinal of the Kremlin, same thing with all of these books that he wrote. And I'm a Clancy freak because I love political espionage. I love military, anything to do with military, and how people react in a certain way. I got a chance to kind of work in that world when I worked in Washington on Capitol Hill. I loved that type of atmosphere. So to me, when I write, I try not to be as boring as I set up. I try to go ahead and have like a kaboom, like the opening that I do, that crazy opening that I do, kaboom. And then I take you on a roller coaster ride, and I'm taking you here and I'm taking you there. And I always found if you like me from the beginning, I got you in the palm of my hand. I can do anything I want to you. And it's the same way, in my opinion. Now, Janice will bring me down to the ground and she'll sit there and go, hey, it would be nice if you did this. And I listen to her. You know why? Because she knows what the hell she's talking about, So, but it makes me a better writer, and that's just my 2 cents on that.
That's cool, man. I love so yeah, Wills, we did lose your audio.
Did we really? We lost him?
We did.
He wasn't worth listening to anyway. The important thing is can we get him back? Is there any chance of getting him back?
See. We'll see.
Wills, we're working on you, brother. We're working on you. If you can you hear us?
I can hear y'all. Am
Oh,
I
good.
still?
So
Am
you're
I
back
There you
around?
on.
go.
You're
Yeah, you're
back
back.
on.
All right. So what I was saying is that the common people need to seize the means of production in order to overthrow the proletariat. No, I'm teasing.
Perfect. I'm like, really? Are we?
That's what I was
my
saying as
red
my mic
pen?
was getting cut off. Was
You got fans of mine going, what the hell's the proletariat?
what's
Oh, shit.
But what y'all were saying though, I think that's so dope that you have like that Janice, like you have someone who knows writing, knows what they're talking about, who can give you feedback, because that is a crucial thing. That's really dope, and I like that with like the comics out in Wilmington is like, you know, after a mic or just hanging out and riffing with each other, you can be like, hey, you've got something here, you can fix this. Hey, if this setup is too long, and I'll hear them on that because I know that those are the people who know. So I dig that.
You know, the one thing that always amazes me for comedians today, you know, when I started with people who are big stars today. I mean, Steve Harvey, I don't think you get any bigger. Steve is a funny cat. And we both kind of came and were weaned on the same open mic group. And it was really he and I who kind of jumped out. And there was also Special K and Bertice Berry, and there was Mike Venom, and there was a lot of cats. And funny people. But the thing that I've always learned was, even when open mic was done and the headliner would come out, I would sit and watch the headliner to see how did he make a transition? How did he wind up going ahead and actually, you know, cut into from one bit to another, which is a transition going into something. You know, and to me, if there's a callback, how did he do that callback? You're not stealing his material. What you're kind of stealing is, how did he do it? How did he bring it back?
Valuable things from like being in this town was like we got the club out here, and like as soon as I started coming to those mics, they were like, look, we've got headliners every weekend, y'all get in free, and that was like it was nice, but it was a direct purpose was we get in free to learn and get better and observe and then make the scene better, and that was the thing I greatly benefited from. And it's like watching comics now. I don't enjoy comedy the way I did before I started doing it. I still enjoy it. I still laugh and I still like get a lot out of it. But now I feel more like a magician watching a magic show, because like I'm watching to see how you pulled it off. I'm studying you and I'm watching to see. And it's like, well, I know how he pulled that rabbit out the hat, but that was a cool way to do it. I admire.
You know the rabbit's coming out, right? You know it's going to come out. One of the funniest magicians I ever saw was a guy who never said a word, right?
Right.
And the end result never happened when he began this certain trick. For example, he would all of a sudden take a live rabbit, and the live rabbit, he'd take off his hat and he put the live rabbit in the hat. And all of a sudden he flipped the hat over and you couldn't find the rabbit. And he goes in, he's like, you know, like this. And the music is playing in the background. He goes in and he can't find the rabbit. And he's like looking all over for the rabbit, thinking he fell out. And all of a sudden he goes, okay, fine. Doesn't say a word. Then all of a sudden he does the magic bottle that would disappear, right, in these cans. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he pulls out the rabbit. He's like, how the hell did you get here? You know, and to me, that was hysterical, because the end result of this one specific type of thing was basically off to the side, and it just moved to it like down to, you know, two or three actual I guess bits that he would do. Hysterical. And to me, that was always where he's funny. But you know, I want to let people know that we are indeed going to be on together on stage. It'll be Wills Maxwell Jr. and myself, and we are going to be at the wonderful historic Thalian Hall in wonderful Wilmington, North Carolina on Friday. So if all you guys are actually listening and watching, you know, I want you to come to this show. we're going to be talking because we're going to do things that a lot of people haven't done, like get together under one roof without a mask and laughing and having a great time. And I wish JR, if you can make it, and Janice, you're in Reno right now. Love to have you there. And how cool is this? You came to my office. We got a chance to sit and chat for about an hour, and that was really, really cool.
I love that, man.
JR, yep.
Yeah, JR can come over one day.
Everybody, thanked everybody, man.
You got to let it go, man. You got to let it go.
Wills, I mentioned my pocket. Will's Maxwell podcast. Will's Maxwell Jr. Hey, who else is on there, JR? Who produces it? Who edits it, JR?
Oh my, JR, you're the reason in my life. You're the inspiration.
Don't I'm telling you right now, don't feed the tiger, because he's going to come out and jump on you if you start feeding that eagle.
Here's facts though, because like you work at like a place behind the scenes where like you make everything happen, where like, because I had JR's job too, like every single thing that you do that happens on that show is because you're there doing your job. You're looking for like the tiniest bit of like, oh, I'm going to get a shout out today. I'm going to get a shout out because I did this. I see that camera movement I did. That was good. I'm going to get a shout out today. Oh, you saw how I made sure they looked nice before they got on? I'm going to get a shout out today. And then JR has both of us on the station at the same time. And he's like, I put these guys on. Here we go. We're finally going to get that recognition. Everyone's going to point to the control room. And nothing.
I understand. Listen.
Just
nothing.
Well, before this show ends, folks, and all of you who are listening, and I'm talking Steve Tama, I'm talking Alejandro Ruiz, Nesta, I'm talking Stacy Economidis, I'm talking all the people, Dina Raptis, who's with us, Lynn Midas, who's with us.
You know what I mean?
Steve, okay, Jan, everyone, George Passes, everyone. If it wasn't for JR, this show would be delivered in a different way. So it would be very. This show would not. We probably would be doing it with two soup cans and a piece of string. Thank God JR is with us. I pray to God every day that nothing ever happens.
Thank you, JR. Thank you.
There it is.
So, listen, man, I'm looking forward to. And by the way, JR, do you have all the information on where people can get their tickets at thalienhall.org?
Thalienhall.org. I will pop that back up there.
Pop that bad boy up and keep pushing so we can sell more tickets. Again, dude, it's fun getting to know you. I started laughing. Can I tell the story? Am I allowed to tell the story?
Oh yeah, man. You go ahead, man. Yeah.
There was an old woman who's a fan of mine, and I don't know if she can't see or what, but I just started laughing. So I got the original poster, and it was just me doing the thing like that. This is Basile's Comedy Bash, Azalea Comedy Bash, and the next thing you know, Wills gave me his, and I revamped it. And this woman winds up texting me. She goes, "Do you know there is a Negro popping up out of the bushes from the azalea bushes in the background?"
Oh my goodness!
Here's what did you know? Here's what I love about that though. It's like, what if you didn't know? What if she thought she was neighborhood watch at that moment? She was like, I check all the bushes in Wilmington. I check all the azalea and hedge bushes in Wilmington, and I didn't find. I average about 3 Negroes a week, but this time I found one on your flyer, and I thought I'm doing my civic duty to let you know. I don't know if you're aware, but if you didn't, in case you did not know.
Well, I just told her, I said, sometimes if you overwater, they just grow really quick.
She said, "Did you know?"
That is
That
great.
is.
Oh, that's crazy. That's just,
I want to know what happens if she sees one in real life.
Oh my
Bush
God,
or
they're
no
coming
bush?
from
I want to
everywhere.
know. It's like
me and people are walking down the street side by side.
she types somebody is like, "Did you know?" I just want to make sure I'm not seeing things. Did you?
Great.
One of them was skewed, and one of them was nearsighted, I believe. But they were. But did you see that they were? Did you know?
They just grow in the wild like that. I just don't understand.
Amazing. Oh wow!
Please come out if you're watching. Please come to the show.
Ooh, they grow on the stage too. That's unbelievable.
It's gonna be more than just a poster. I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna talk to you for 20 minutes. I'm gonna talk from a
What
stage.
happened? I said, well, I had some magical beans. I threw it on the stage, and there was.
Did you know?
Great. Hey, before we wrap it up, Basile, before we wrap it up, I want to say something, man.
Yeah, man.
You came on our podcast. You came on me and Will's podcast a year ago, and we were talking and everything, and you had just brought this up casually, like, hey, why don't I have you open up? Would you ask Will's and you asked it, hey, would you want to open up for me at Alien? You know what I mean? And that. I didn't think anything of it, honestly. You know what I mean? I thought it was just, you know, we were in the moment, we were laughing, shooting shit, you know what I mean? And you just threw it out there type shit. Dude, you actually were serious and you acted on it. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of these things.
That's real, man. That's real. That's
this crazy.
Real,
and I'm sorry if we're going a little long, but I've had to have conversations with people, friends, about why. Because I guess they follow you on Facebook or whatever, and they see, you know what I mean? They see that you're on different sides politically than I am. And you know what I mean? And I've had conversations like, why am I on this fucking show with him? And blah, blah, blah. And I can't watch the show because you're on the show with him and shit. I'm like, you're part of the problem. Like, you are part of the problem with this world. Because you can't watch a show where friends are getting along from two opposite sides of the world, opposite sides of the tracks. You know what I mean? Like, you're fucking this world up. We get along. I don't care about his politics. I don't care about Janet's politics. I don't care about Will's politics. I don't care about my politics. I just want to live and be happy and everybody be fucking nice and happy and love each other. That's
you know what? And that's,
you know what I mean? For you to do that, Basile, I commend you, bro. I look up to that, love you for it, and that's what's up. And that's all I got to say about that.
Well,
yeah, man, that was real. That was real cool, man. At the same, just to echo what JR was saying, like, I didn't know how real. I thought we were having fun. So that it's actually happening. It's happening this Friday. I can't be more excited. I can't be more excited to work with you again and to like come to Thalian. So we're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be dope.
It is, and first of all, thank you. So that was heartfelt, and I appreciate that. And you know, listen, it was a certain way that I was raised in a more conservative manner, but I always will appreciate someone else's point of view. How can I turn around when everyone has an opinion and me say, well, you're an idiot or you're an ass or whatever? No, it's just, I disagree with you. But if you're going to be that harsh that you can't even look at me or talk with me because you have labeled me, and thanks for defending me, it says you're part of the problem. Well, yeah, but I'm not going to say it. You know, they have to grow up and see whatever the case is. I've never been. Go ahead, Janice. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, I thank you for that, JR, because I feel that this is a problem that's on both sides of the fence. It's not just that side. We experience similar things from people that at least that I have been around, and I would express it very similarly to you. Probably not quite as eloquently.
And some of this is the River Reserve.
Yeah, I don't
gotta-
have my Irish
I gotta-
whiskey. Sorry, fellas.
I gotta go drive these people home now. I gotta go pick up these people and take them to their own house. These guys got drunk on Twitter. Got drunk on live Twitter. Gotta pick them up now.
No, I thank that. And even Vicky Antonaco says, "Amen, Junior, Jr." And Steve as well. And it means a lot to me. Listen, funny's funny, and it doesn't matter if it's coming out of an azalea bush or not. It doesn't really matter. My thing has always been funny is funny. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman, a he or a she or an it. I don't care if it's white, black, and every color underneath the rainbow that we have. Funny is funny. I was always learned to respect people for who they are. And if you can't respect, and I've never been very harsh in my opinions. If you ever notice, if you ever read anything, I say, read. I haven't told my daughters. Now, my daughter, Zacharula, is liberal. Now, you would think coming from a conservative point of view, but I always told her the truth. I said, drink from both sides of the trough. Just don't go to one side. Do your research. Now, my youngest daughter, Katerina, was probably a touch more conservative than my eldest daughter. But again, we work with all types of people. That's what makes this world turn, is everyone has an opinion. Remember that. We don't, but like Janice said, and, people on both sides will be harsh and judgmental. I'm not. My thing has always been love thy neighbor, and it's always been that way. And if people would watch the show and people would see what kind of people we have on there, I may disagree with them politically, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Like I said, until you find a better way to put on a pair of pants, I don't sweat you. And until we find a way to hopefully one day all of us to get along and put our differences aside and just say, you got a difference of opinion. I respect that.
That'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, that'll be tomorrow. Really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm predicting.
You're predicting beautiful.
What's in your drink?
Okay.
It's natural high, baby.
I tried to tell her put some shit in it, but she wouldn't listen. Anyway, folks, on behalf of JR, myself, and Janice, we want to thank you, Wills, for being on the show, and I can't wait to work with you on Friday night. Again, Friday night, ladies and gentlemen, 8 o'clock, Thalian Hall. We're going to have a fun time. Be there, be square. From all of us to all of you watching and listening, God bless. Have a great evening.
Nice to meet you, Wills.
Nice to meet you.